Hey everyone, and welcome. We hear a ton about these incredibly powerful, almost magical machine learning algorithms, but today we're going to pull back the curtain and talk about the real secret ingredient, the thing that truly makes them work. It's called feature engineering, and honestly, it might just be the most important step you've never heard of.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a pretty bold claim, one that actually surprises a lot of people. In the world of machine learning, the ingredients you start with, your data, are way more important than the fancy, complex recipe, the algorithm you use. If you get the ingredients right, even a super simple recipe can be a masterpiece.
And this slide right here really gets to the heart of it all. Let's run with an analogy for a bit. Think of a data scientist as a master chef. A simple model, maybe a basic cooking technique, can create a mind-blowing meal if the ingredients are prepped to perfection. But on the flip side, even the world's greatest chef can't make a gourmet dish out of rotten, poorly prepared ingredients. It's just not going to work.
So, what is this all-important prep work? Well, in a professional kitchen, they have a great term for it, mise en place, which just means everything in its place. In data science, we call it feature engineering.
It's really the art and science of taking your raw data, your uncooked vegetables, your whole cuts of meat, and transforming them into something useful. It's all the washing, chopping, dicing, and combining before you even get close to the stove. You're making sure the model gets the absolute best, most useful inputs to learn from.
So let's make this a little less abstract. What are these features we keep talking about? Well, they're just the individual measurable pieces of our data. If you're predicting house prices, your features are things like square footage, the number of bedrooms, maybe the zip code. If you're building a spam filter, it's things like word counts or the length of the email. Each one is a distinct ingredient in our recipe. Every good chef needs a solid set of tools and techniques, right? A good knife, a cutting board. Well, a data chef is no different. So let's open up the toolkit and see what essential methods they use to get the data ready. You can really boil it all down to three main jobs. First, you've got cleaning, which is just what it sounds like, dealing with messy or missing ingredients. Second is transforming, getting everything into the right format for the model to understand. And finally, my favorite part is creating, where the real artistry comes in, inventing new flavors by combining what you've already got.
All right, let's start with cleaning. You can't cook with an ingredient that's just not there. In data, missing values are a huge, huge problem. They can literally break your model, or even worse, lead it to make some seriously wrong and biased conclusions.
So how does our data chef handle this? Well, they have a few options. If it's just a tiny bit of missing info, sometimes you can just get rid of it. But you can also be a lot more clever. If a number is missing, you can fill in the blank with the average value from all the other data. Or if a category is missing, like color, you could fill it in with the most common color. The goal is to patch the hole without messing up the whole data set.
Next up, transformation. You got to understand, many machine learning models are, they're kind of picky eaters. They only speak the language of numbers. They have no idea what to do with words like red, blue, or green. So our chef has to translate these words into a numerical format the model can actually digest.
And this table shows two really popular ways to do it. First, there's label encoding. It's simple. You just assign a number. Red is 0, blue is 1, green is 2. Easy, right? But wait, there's a catch. The model might accidentally think that green, being 2, is somehow more important or bigger than red, which is 0. For colors, that makes no sense. So to fix that, we use something called one-hot encoding. It basically creates a new on-off switch for each color. That way, the model gets clean information with no weird implied ranking.
And now we get to the really creative part of the job. This is where the data chef becomes a true innovator. It's about going beyond just prepping ingredients and actually inventing something totally new, something that's way more powerful than the sum of its parts.
Just think about that house price example again. The total price of a house, that's a useful ingredient. The total square footage, also very useful. But what happens when you combine them? When you create a brand new feature called price per square foot?
Suddenly, you've given the model a much richer, more powerful piece of information about value and density that neither of the original ingredients had on their own. So we've done all this work, cleaning, chopping, transforming, creating. It sounds like a lot, I know, but here's the million-dollar question. Does all this prep actually make the final dish taste better? Does it really improve the model's performance?
Oh yeah, it's a huge, resounding yes. Just look at this chart. The difference is not a small tweak. We're talking night and day. A model that's just fed raw data might kind of struggle along, getting mediocre results. But that exact same model, when you feed it beautifully engineered features, can see its performance just skyrocket. This is what separates good data science from great data science. And the payoff goes way beyond just a better accuracy score. When your data is well prepped, your model can actually learn faster, which saves a ton of time and computing power. It also becomes more reliable when it sees new data out in the real world. And heck, it can even make the model's decisions easier for us humans to understand and trust. It really improves the whole process, from top to bottom.
So let's bring it all home and think about what this really means. In a world so focused on automating everything, where does the human data scientist, our data chef, actually fit in?
I think this quote just says it all. This isn't just about running some code. It's an art form. It takes a deep understanding of the problem you're solving, what we call domain knowledge, and it takes creativity and a willingness to just try things out. It's that human insight that knows to even look for something like price per square foot in a massive spreadsheet of raw numbers.
And that leaves us with one last question to chew on. As AI gets more powerful and automation gets better and better, does that make our human data chef obsolete? Or does that uniquely human ability to understand context, to creatively prepare the data, and define the story hidden in the features, does that become the single most valuable and irreplaceable skill of all? Thanks for joining me.